everyone, and welcome to the newest segment on hvnn.com entitled Your Right to Know with Tony DeFazio of DeFazio and Zidon. And today we're talking about injury. When you're involved in an auto accident or an accident of any kind through no fault of your own, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your family, your spouse, your job prospects, and it could affect you for the rest of your life. And Tony, that's what we're talking about today. What do people need to know if that happens to be their situation?
Well, when people get involved in accidents, the first problem is that for most people, they're working through their regular lives, they have jobs, they still have to raise their kids, they have other obligations, and all of a sudden they get involved in an accident. And when that happens, now all of a sudden you've got to get paperwork done, you've got to go to the doctors, you've got to get treatment, because whether you're seriously injured or whether you're just a minor injury, you've still got to go through all of this process. That means you've got to go to doctors, and it's not just any doctor, because most times your regular physician will not take something called no-fault insurance. No-fault insurance is when you're involved in an accident in New York State, your insurance company that you pay for your car, they pay all the bills. And they don't pay at the same rate as a regular doctor. They pay at actually the lowest rate in New York State. So there's only certain doctors that take that type of fee. So all of a sudden you're going to have to go to a different doctor. You're going to have to go to physical therapy, and you're going to have to go to these IME appointments, which is when the insurance company, they have doctors come in to make sure that you're really injured. And all these are going to be set at times that are inconvenient for you because you still got to work. You still got to earn your paycheck. And there are laws in place that protect people who've been injured from getting fired, from getting demoted. But we know the reality is that if you're in a job, especially in private industry, you've got to be at work. Your boss expects you there. And if you're taking off a lot of time for this or for that and for medical appointments, even if it's very serious, you're going to get knocked down the ladder. And that's going to affect your ability to make money now. It's going to affect your ability to make money in the future. Job prospects could get hurt. If you're in between jobs, this could be the worst time. So even if it's a minor accident and you're not that seriously injured, you've still got to get this treatment. And the problem is a lot of people, they get involved in an accident and they get hurt. And they're not really sure if they're that hurt because it hurts and it doesn't hurt. But you know what the problem is the way no fault works. If you don't get treatment right away, if you don't take this immediately steps, then if you have a problem 6 months down the road, they're not going to want to hear it. They're not going to pay for it. They're not going to say it's related to the accident. They're going to say you never complained about it. And they're going to assume that it's something else. And then you're going to be stuck with that injury for the rest of your life. And you're not going to be able to get compensated.
And there are a lot of times where you get injured where it doesn't manifest itself for maybe 10 years down the road. So if you get, what you're saying is if you get checked out right away, you're kind of covered.
Exactly. And the other problem is if you get an injury, say to your neck or your back, and down the road you get hurt again, say 4 or 5 years from now, in maybe a more serious accident, even though you didn't get a lot of treatment, even though you didn't really go to the doctor that much, they're going to hold that against you in that case because those doctors are going to say, oh, no, 5 years ago he had this injury. And again, you're not going to be compensated for it because you didn't go to a lawyer and you didn't pursue your rights under New York no-fault law.
What about supplemental insurance then? How does that factor in?
Well, that factors in because if you are working and you're making decent money and you need that money for your retirement and you've got your whole future plan based upon that, if you get hit and you get seriously injured, the minimum policy in New York is only $25,000 per person. So that means if you break your back, if you have to be out of work for 6 months, all these things, as serious as it is, that's the maximum amount you could get from some people if they don't have that heavy insurance. So if you're working and you're making good money and you've got a family to protect, in the same way that you need to get good life insurance, you need to get this called supplemental insurance, which means that you're covered if the other person who hits you, who causes you these injuries, who causes this accident, doesn't have a lot of insurance. And it's very cheap. It's not that expensive to tack onto your policy. And a lot of insurance companies don't necessarily sell it, even though, or don't necessarily push it, even though it's very cheap and it's very good for their customers.
All right, so give us quickly 2 or 3 tips, what people need to know, what people need to do.
First thing you need to do is if you're involved in an accident, before you speak to any insurance company, you should know what your rights are, and that's where you go speak to an attorney. The second thing you need to do is before the accident happens, when you're looking around for an insurance company, you need to make sure that they are a reputable insurance company that will take care of you when you get involved in the accident. It's not just the price that you need to focus on. You need to focus on how well they're going to treat you once you're in that accident, because the statistics are that 1 in 5 people get involved in an auto accident every year. So that means over the course of 5 years, you're going to be involved in an auto accident. Hopefully it's not serious, but if it is, you need to have that right coverage.
All right, well, great. Tony, great information, great advice for all of us, and thanks for watching this edition of Your Right to Know with Tony DeFazio of DeFazio and Ziden. We'll see you next time.